what's it like operating in a regulated industry, and kind of how does that impact your growth strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think the like polite answer is, a regulated space is a competitive moat, so like it's regulated, people don't really want to be in a regulated industry. It's really hard to acquire a bank, and that competitive moat is incredible. And so, every day I'm thankful for it. The less polite answer is like being regulated sucks. Like it was new for me, so I stepped in. I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have amazing product market fit. This is a game changer." Well, you pay for it by being regulated. And so it wouldn't allow us, I think, to be as aspirational and successful as we've been if we weren't regulated, because we wouldn't have that moat. But, it just means like documentation and thinking about risk and how you mitigate risk, and thinking about, this stakeholder that has never been part, at least of my career, which is the regulators. You have customers, you have employees, stakeholders, maybe investors, which we happen not to have here, which is great. But now there's this other like giant stakeholder in the room, which is the regulator. And so that's been an adjustment for me. And we hire a good amount of like tech folks, and that's always an adjustment of like, oh wow, okay, this is, a whole new element that we have to take into consideration.
And so it's like when you're building the product, there's specific ways you have to build the product to comply with laws. Is that kind of how it
It's
plays into the
actually
picture?
So that definitely plays into the picture. That's not the hard part, or at least it's not the part maybe that I think about every day. But every customer that we bring on, the banks take on risk. Anyone they work with, they take on a risk that they have to mitigate, document. So every time we bring on a customer, we're not just trying to sell to them, show how much value we can provide, but we also have to be thoughtful of, okay, what is the risk we're taking on with this customer? How do we mitigate that? What is the due diligence we do? And so for me, it was like such a change in like my operating model. I spent my entire life thinking about generating demand, getting people to buy. And then here there's some of that, but there's a lot of like, okay, now I need to qualify really carefully and mitigate and like make sure we set expectations and due diligence. And so it's just kind of flipping it a little bit on its head in terms of like the things we think about. I guess it's like intellectually challenging, but it's different.
Yeah. So I imagine it's like the know your customer stuff that
Yep,
like I have to do when I have
exactly.
created a bank account. Interesting. Yeah. So it's like qualifying actually is really important. It's not just like ways to get good customers. It's like legally important. Yeah. Very,
Yeah,
very
I mean,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and we make it part of everything we do. We're always thinking, okay, it's not just this could be a great customer. It's like, okay, well, do they have, the processes in place to stay compliant?
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, I know we have like a few cannabis companies who use Doc, and like, yeah, I imagine like those companies. I don't know why they would use Column, but that they probably couldn't, right? Because of all those
Not
laws.
yet,
Yeah, so
not
there's,
yet. Yeah, but
yeah,
maybe one day.